pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your heads and join me in prayer. Thank you, Lord, for allowing us to be here tonight in a country that's free, where we're able to come together and make decisions for the people that we serve. We ask you, Lord, that you would keep all of our law enforcement and emergency workers safe, and also that you would give us wisdom as we discuss all of that is before us tonight. Guide us and direct us. Amen.
Amen. All day. Thank you, Dad. We have several minutes that were before us, the August 14th and 15th, August 21st, 22nd, and 24th. Did everyone have a chance to review those minutes? Yes. Were there any questions or changes? Hearing none, I look for a motion to approve.
Troy Sprinkle make the motion to approve the minutes.
Brian Copel, second.
Thank you. Let the record show all are in attendance except Vicki Kivett is not with us this evening. She will be here next month. We will begin with additional appropriations, and I think our jail commander has something for us.
Do we need a full vote?
Please.
On the minutes?
Oh,
Vote.
yes. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. Sorry about that. Got ahead of myself. Hello,
Good evening,
gentlemen.
council.
Hey, guys, we'd like to start off by making an amendment to this. We told Tammy we were gonna take her 30,000, she could do the 270.
Yeah. Hers looked easier.
Yeah. She said hers would be easier.
Hers is a transfer, gentlemen.
That's what we
Yes.
want, yeah.
Might note you're the only additional on the agenda this evening.
Yes.
It's not us.
We'll start with the easy one first, or the easier one first. So we're asking for $30,000 in repair and maintenance. That's for obvious reasons that we stated in the budget time, that the building's just costing a lot more money to maintain as we move forward. And I'd like to say that we're done with that this year, but I'm not 100%. We've still been digging up some floors and some things throughout this past month. So, so we think this will get us close, but not really 100% certain on that, because some things came up after we had asked for this. So, but we're going to try to get through with that 30,000. So we're asking for 30,000 in repair and maintenance to hopefully get us through the year.
We'll do them one at a time. Is that all right with everyone? So the 30,000, as we all know, there's ongoing issues, maintenance issues over there. It's an aging building, a used building 24/7, sometimes abused building 24/7. But, so we have a $30,000 request for additional appropriation for repair and maintenance. And let's see, that one we just have, you just have that one out of the general fund, don't you?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
just out of
All right.
general.
So we don't have options on that one on general fund. So do we have any questions or comments in regard to that?
Chip Keller make a motion to approve the $30,000 for repair and maintenance.
Yep.
Jason Maxwell, seconds.
Motion by Chip, second by Jason. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, council.
Thank you.
The next one, we gave you some flexibility. I think Kim may have got scared. We asked for it twice, give you flexibility from public safety or general for the $270,000 for our professional services or medical services. That pays for our medical contract and all of our additional medical costs that's not necessarily covered under contract. So $190,000 of that, we gave a little warning at the beginning of the year, well, toward the end of last year into this year, that we had to up our mental health. And so our contract did go up, but it was too late because of budget time. We'd missed the budget time as far as moving those services. So our contract had increased $190,000. So $190,000 of that's just contractual obligations that we had. And then $80,000 is just additional cost. And we're predicting that going through the rest of the year too. So that's not how much we're lacking necessarily, but that's hopefully going to get us through the rest of this year. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. You do have both accounts. You can take that or fund that out of public safety or the general fund.
I was just going to ask, and I'm sure I know the answer, but the increase in the service fee or the service, that was built into next year's budget based on the
Correct. So and Kim asked that earlier today. So we did estimate that, and we tried to take in what's happened this year to take into account for this upcoming budget. So that is why that was increased a lot more than what traditionally we've had in there. Medical's a hard one to predict. Sometimes we have a really good couple of years. Then, like I told Kim, it could take just kind of like the county's insurance. It could take one or two catastrophic issues that really collapse that. So, and those are hard to predict. And, yeah.
You what?
No. So,
So last year, the contractual amount came in after budget time. So at this point.
it did not
you've
come in
already gotten
after.
it? No?
We added services after the fact due to the increase of mental health issues that we've been having to address. So we added mental health hours and mental health staff to the contract to address the ongoing mental health issues that we're having to deal with within the facility. So those were just added on. We did notify all the council at that time that we was going to be doing an increase of that, knowing that we was going to have to come back at some point in time this year. We just was waiting until we was exhausting most of the funds that we had available before we done that.
Do you contract Advanced Correctional? Is that who?
We currently do at the end of this month, well, actually in about 7 days is their last day. Then we have moved our services over to a new company, new to Indiana, in fact. So we're going to be the first jail in the state to have this company. And hopefully we'll have a little better negotiation with billing. I don't think we've been getting the best negotiations the past year and a half with Advance, unfortunately. So that's going to be, this new company's got a little bit of better billing strategy.
Do they have like a board-certified psychiatrist, or when you talk about mental health services?
So typically, we don't use psychiatrists in jails because it's not affordable. So it's usually social worker or master level social workers typically are the frontline or therapist. And then they work in partnership with the medical doctor if there's a need for prescribing. And then we work in partnership as well with our local Centerstone, depending on if there is an escalated need for a psychiatrist or psychologist as well. So.
And when someone's incarcerated, they lose their, if they have like Medicaid, they lose their Medicaid, right?
Correct. Yeah,
It's suspended or whatever.
It does get suspended. The county, our county, not every county, but our county did engage. So back in 2016, I think it was, the state made it mandatory that jails file for Medicaid for all inmates that would qualify. So we do that. There's not a cost to the county to do that. So we do that. We don't get to use it. But there's no penalty as well if we don't file for it. If the county chose to engage into a contract with the state to agree to file for the Medicaid, which our county did, then we get to use it for hospitalization after the first 24 hours on a diagnosed issue. So if someone gets put in the hospital for a heart attack and they're hospitalized after the first 24 hours and they're in there for the heart attack diagnosis, then we get a discounted rate for that. So our county does benefit from that. Some counties elected not to engage in that agreement. We did. So we do get that benefit, but it's still just a percentage savings that we get. But a lot of our medical bills are emergency room visits, which we don't get any kind of insurance discounting for that, unfortunately. And you're right, Medicaid covers nothing. Sometimes we get a private insurer, not often, but it does happen periodically, but not enough to make a difference.
I just want to clarify, that's what I thought was happening, so.
Does the auditor have a recommendation on which fund to pay this out of?
Great question.
Yes.
She's going to phone a friend.
Her dad's in the hospital, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you have a? No, I'm good. But do you have of these, of which account you would prefer us to take it out of?
Well, on the financial statements, the budgetary financial statements,
Mm-hmm.
we estimated, we thought a $210,000 additional appropriation request was coming, so we're good to take it out of the lit public safety.
Okay.
Out of lit.
Lit, yeah. Did that answer your question, Melissa?
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else have any other questions to the sheriff and Dave? So we have choices on that, but it sounds like the auditor thinks we would be good in lit, so I'll look for a motion.
Chip Keller make a motion to approve $270,000 for professional medical services to be taken out of the lit public safety fund.
Thank you, Chip.
Second?
We have a motion by Chip Keller, seconded by Brian Culp. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you,
gentlemen.
council.
We're going to move on to some appropriation transfers. It looks like we have the election office up first. Tammy Parker.
Hi, Tammy.
Good evening. Ready?
Hello there.
I just need a transfer from custodian in the election budget to years of service. I had a transfer, one of my clerk's employees wanted to transfer over to the election office. So she's been here longer and I needed to adjust the years of service on that.
Makes sense.
Do you want to do them separately or?
Yeah, we'll do them separately.
Okay.
So the request of the $300 from the custodian line to years of service. Any questions or comments?
No, Melissa Green will make the motion to transfer from the general fund from custodian to years of service, $300 for the election office.
Thank you, Melissa.
Troy Sprinkle, second.
Troy, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Sign. Motion carries 6-0. And your next one?
The next is in my records department. I need to transfer from supplies to years of service, $450. I, again, had a clerk employee transfer over to the records department, and that's the reason. She had more years of service.
The numbers are there, but one is supplies and one's years of service. So just so you know which they are. Any questions of our clerk?
Troy Sprinkle make the motion to approve that transfer.
Brian Koppel, second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Troy Sprinkle, seconded by Brian Culp. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. And was this the one that the nurse wasn't going to be here? Or? Okay. Yeah. I did get a call this afternoon that Carol was not feeling well and was not going to be here, but I told her that was fine since it was just a transfer. I hope that was okay with everyone. I know there's a lot going around. We don't want to be sick. So we have a request of 20,000, is it? A total of 20, is that right?
She has two different ones. We've got a total of 11,500
Incentive and
from the
supplies.
part-time LPN and equipment to incentive, and then 20,000 from part-time RN nurse to contractual.
Okay, we'll do these. Okay. Two of them. So part-time LPN nurse and equipment transfer for a total of $11,000 to incentive supplies. 11,500, I apologize. Anyone have any
Chip
questions
Keller
on
will
that?
make a motion to approve that transfer.
Thank you, Chip. We have a motion
Melissa Green will second.
by Melissa Green. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0 on that one. Then the next one, we have a part-time RN nurse, from the part-time RN nurse line to contractual services for $20,000.
Jason Maxwell will make the motion to transfer $20,000 from part-time RN nurse to contractual services.
Jason?
Troy Sprinkle, second.
Thank you, Troy. We have a motion by Jason Maxwell, seconded by Troy Sprinkle. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0 on that one as well. Thank you. And we are going to move into our public hearing, so without, no one has any opposition to that, we will move from the regular meeting into the public hearing for the Monroe Township Fire District. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, Mike Wagner, Chairman of the Monroe Township Fire District Board. I guess we're back tonight because we had a little issues on the other, last time we were here. I do have a couple questions because I have the current budget and everything, and we also, Nicole that we deal with at Peters Franklin has went through everything, and I'm just curious, we didn't gain anything. So I just wonder what all was going on, other than we're already applied for the stuff for in '24 was already applied for. So I'm just need clarification on it to figure what was going on.
The budget that was published in Gateway, the budget numbers did not change any, but the requested tax levy for 2024, what was published was requesting $0.
Okay, so it wasn't something in the right column, and we just needed to move something to another column.
Yep, she just didn't have
Okay.
things copied over.
So we really didn't leave nothing on the table, we just need to move something to the other column? That's correct. Okay, all right. And since we're a binding entity, you have to go over it before it's turned in, because we can't upload the final deal, correct? That's correct. So, okay, so I'm assuming you would have caught it in the end anyway, so,
That's why we're back here tonight.
okay, okay,
Linda had made calls as well prior to that.
yeah, okay. So I guess we're all good to go and everything?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Did anyone else have any questions? Was there any comments from the public in regard to the public hearing of the Monroe Township Fire District's budget? Okay. Did we have any questions or comments from the council?
Nope.
Are we passing our budget? Yeah, all right. So hearing none, we will now, if there's no opposition to it, we will move into from the public hearing of the Monroe Township Fire District to, we have some other adoptions we'll now move into for the 2024 budget adoptions. Harrison Township Fire District, is there anyone here as representation to them? You want to come on up? Let's see, this one is.
They're doing the 3-year growth appeal,
Yeah.
same as the county.
Let's see.
So we'll do that adoption first.
Okay.
Good evening.
And it looks like you were doing the 3-year growth appeal for the county, like the county is that correct? Yes. Okay, so we will, looks like we'll deal with that first, is that right? Petition to appeal for increase above the maximum tax levy. And appeal amount is $4,565, as I read this. Is that accurate? Is that as you understand it? Okay. Do we have any questions? Did everyone get a copy of this in your packet? Okay. Did anyone have questions on that? I think you certainly qualify with the growth you're having out there in your region. No questions or comments? All right. And this is the adoption of this budget. So we're going to do the first portion of this will be the adoption of the petition to appeal for an increase above the maximum levy. So I look for a motion.
I'll make that motion to approve that levy appeal for Harrison Township.
We have a motion by Chip Keller to approve that levy appeal.
Melissa Green.
Go ahead.
Melissa.
Second. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for being here.
All right, thank you.
And then, oh, we stay here. I forgot, that was just one part of yours. Okay. Yes. And is that their amount? Okay. Did everyone have a copy of their budget? Their adopted budget is $170,100. Adopted tax levy is $77,159. Adopted tax rate is 0.0753. Did we have any questions or comments? Hearing none, I look for a motion.
Brian Culp will make a motion.
A motion to approve the Harrison Township Fire District budget.
Jason Maxwell seconds.
Motion by Brian Culp, seconded by Jason Maxwell. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. Now you can go. Thank you, guys. Okay, now this one. Yeah, which, is my paper in there for the growth appeal, or is that? Did I already, I didn't put it away, did I? Here, I bet this is it. Yeah. I bet that's still part of their stuff. Shifting my papers around, folks. Okay, everyone have a copy of the Morgan County. Is there someone here to speak on behalf of the county? We will. This is ours, that's right. Petition for appeal for increase above the maximum levy. And our 3-year growth factor appeal amount is $1,132,194. Right. No, we did not. So this will be our only item this evening that we, no?
No, you'll have your budget.
But what were you saying?
We're not increasing this.
Oh, yes, I see what you're saying. Yes, I got you. Anyone have questions or comments in regard to that 3-year growth factor? Hearing none, I look for a motion.
Troy Sprinkle make the motion to approve the appeal for the 3-year growth factor.
Thank you, Troy. We have a motion.
Green will second.
We have a motion by Troy Sprinkle, seconded by Melissa Green. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. Now, I don't have, do I have that? Was that in front of those others that we just, I think I have it. I put it away too quick, didn't I? Thank you, Linda. Okay. Second part of that is the budget itself. Everyone have a copy of that? Ordinance or resolution for appropriation of tax rates for Morgan County. And adopted budget amount, $52,114,756. Adopted tax levy is $22,433.60. I'm doing it, yeah. 673, and the adopted tax rate is 0.5884. Do we have to read all those?
No.
Okay.
Just say the total for those.
And then on the second page, we have our special funds, which at the bottom is the total of $25,494,051. Any comments or questions on that?
No, I'll point out, since I'm the nerdy accountant, that if you add up the 52 million on the front page and the 25 million on that second page, it comes to what's on the financial statement, the 77,608,807. So it agrees, is all I'm pointing out.
Thank you, nerd.
Thank you, Chip. We appreciate that.
I guess I would make a motion then to approve the Morgan County budget also.
Chip Keller to approve the Morgan County budget for 2024.
Jason Maxwell seconds.
By Jason Maxwell. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much. Okay, now. Into the second public hearing on the preliminary, okay, that's that resolution on the courthouse, correct? Okay, so. We will now move from the budget adoptions portion of the meeting into the second public hearing on the preliminary determination resolution. Are we all okay with moving forward on that?
Yes, ma'am.
So we have before us, is Commissioner Collier going to speak on this evening?
Okay.
Good evening. I got my radio voice going. I got good allergies going. I do
Yeah.
not have COVID. I took a COVID test just to ease everyone's fears in the COVID-adverse society that we now live in. I'm excited that tonight we come to you for Bot 3, which, if you stop and think about it, is the reason why we had to do Bot 1 and 2, and it makes sense that we finish up with 4 after 3. Since then, we've had more water lines break. We've had equipment run as water goes all over desks and shuts down courts. We continue to have problem after problem after problem. I don't know about you and the citizens that approach you, and other than the internet, which I will never be able to counter because of all the misinformation that is spewed upon the internet. But I can tell you that those who come to me and argue on what we're doing, once I get one-on-one or within a small group and explain to them and show them pictures of water coming out of the ceiling, going all over a computer and shutting down a court for the day, to show them the lack of proper work conditions at our courthouse. The argument that I get into is, then why don't we just get rid of? But there's a whole group of people, and I go back to one of my favorite council members of all time, Bob O'Neill, who he and I got in an argument sitting right up there. I was sitting in Melissa's seat, and he was sitting in Jason's, and he threatened to kill me, and I don't think that he was joking. When I said, can we not just tear down the courthouse and build a new one? Or do exactly what we're doing here 20 years later, which is to gut the inside, to remove all the innards, to remove the plumbing, to remove the wiring, to remove, you guys don't want to know what's up in that attic. So this is a tremendous step, and when we get to talking, we just have to keep telling our story. I get it that it costs stuff, but we waited too long. We're investing in ourselves, and we're getting outside people looking in saying, what is Morgan County doing? I ran into that just this last week at the AIC conference. Someone said, how are you? You guys are doing a lot. I said, because we have to make up for lost time. And with that, I will also tell you, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before, one of the challenges when we got started on Bot 1 was that if Commissioner Kyer really cared about us, he would not be starting a $72 million project when construction costs have gone through the roof and everyone's dealing with COVID and blah, 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 blah. I did have him recalculate and run some quick numbers. Had we waited until the last 6-7 months to get this project started, it would be $3 to $5 million more. So we would be looking at 80 to 85, not to mention that the first sets of bonds got more favorable interest rates, and they're still calling that they may raise those again. So with that, I compliment you for holding the course and going forward. I think it's an investment in our future. I think we are being, by remodeling the courthouse and not tearing it down, I don't have to worry about Mr. O'Neill knocking me off at one of these commissioner or council meetings, and I think it's respectful to our past. So with that, I will let the techie guys come up and explain, but I think it's important that we continue to tell our story, and if they need any pictures of broken water lines, flooding, and all the other stuff that goes on, I'll be more than happy to share it with them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, Council. Zach Klutz with Taft. This meeting is identical to what we did last meeting. The second statutorily required public hearing on the preliminary determination to move forward. If this resolution is adopted, at the next meeting in November, we'll bring you the definitive bond, what we would call the bond ordinance and the lease agreement. So right now, we're just making preliminary determinations to move forward, and then we'll see you again with the financing documents. At the last meeting, you did introduce Resolution 2023-913. If this is adopted, we will need to publish notice of its adoption, and in working through that with Baker Tilly, we would like to make a couple of revisions to the resolution that was introduced, and I'll walk through those with you. There was a reference to interest rates between 3.95% and 4.75%. In the bond ordinance, there will be a not to exceed likely 6 or 7, but for purposes of calculating what we believe to be the maximum interest amount, we have 4.75%. And then on the second page, this is for some clarity. We said that the county's debt service levy for the proposed bonds, meaning the bonds we're talking about, is estimated to increase by amount. That's actually going to be the maximum combined debt service limit. So the $6,447,800 will be the maximum combined debt service for not only the bonds we're talking about, but for also for the 2022 GO bonds and the 2022 lease rental bonds. So it's a clarification, actually, it's a correction technically, in a good way. And the final tweak would be that we said that the maximum debt service tax rate is estimated to increase by an amount not to exceed. It will actually be 0.1277 cents. It's not going to increase by that amount. So that will be the debt service tax rate for not only this issuance, but for the 2022 GO bonds, 2022 lease rental bonds. So I'm happy to answer questions on that. Jason Semler's here as well. So I guess for purposes of if this is called for a vote, since this was introduced differently, perhaps you ask for a motion to approve as amended, and we would sign the version that you have in front of you. I'll pause there.
Clear as mud to everybody?
What was the second correction again for the debt levy?
So we said in the original one that was introduced that the county's total maximum debt service tax rate is estimated to increase by an amount not to exceed 0.1277. That will actually be your new tax rate.
Right. I'm sorry, the second one before that.
Okay. Yep. So we said that your debt service levy would increase by an amount not to exceed $6,447,800. That's actually going to be your debt service levy amount.
Okay, thank you.
So it's not it's kind of a good correction, and it was poorly worded so originally.
So on the, like, does she have an official copy then that has those changes already, or you'll need to give those to her?
So I emailed both a clean version and a red. I wanted you to see. I didn't want just to try to explain this. I wanted you to see it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I wanted you to see it. So you should have a version in
strike through
here
it.
that's clean as well, that's incorporated.
I didn't, did you?
Yep,
Yeah.
there is.
I just had one.
Okay.
Here, it's in the second one.
Yeah, and also, that Jason had a great point. These are our estimates. We won't know the exact numbers until we take the bonds to market and know the exact rate. But these are this is the statutory information that we're required to provide on an estimated basis because this is a preliminary determination. You will have protections in the bond ordinance at the next meeting. We will set a maximum not to exceed. But based upon market, right now, this is what we believe it to be.
So you're saying this amended amount that's noted could change?
Yeah, I mean, because this is all on what we believe the market's to be. So yes, that could go up, it could go down. Yeah, go ahead.
These are estimates, but just like we've done in the last two financings, when we had the bond sale, if it's negotiated or competitive, we'll have the interest rates and we'll know what those final payments are for the next 20 years, and those will be final, and those won't change if you decide to refinance them. But right now, these are just estimates based upon current rates.
I guess the only thing I was just trying to clarify is then why are we changing this, estimated interest rate between 3.95 and 4.75 when we're saying it's at 4.75, but it may not be 4.75? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so the way that will, I don't want to say be corrected, the way that will be finalized is in the bond ordinance, we're going to set an interest rate not to exceed. Like when you go to market, this interest rate cannot exceed, we'll probably do 6, I don't know.
Yeah, there'll be a range from anywhere from 4% to maybe 5%. So that 4.75 is kind of like an average.
shifted, though.
Yes.
That was my question, why we don't have a range, you know,
No,
like, so it doesn't say 4.75 to 6.
Yeah, so technically, for the modeling right now, the range is 3.95 to 4.75. But, and that's how we get to what the real statutory disclosure we have to make is what the total interest cost will be.
All right, I just wanted to clarify.
Yes, it looks like the language just changed, and that's it, because originally it was 395 to 475, and now you're just saying it won't exceed 4.75.
No, he's saying it could.
Could.
It could go up to 6.
It could, so because this is property tax supported lease debt, and because it exceeds a certain amount, we have to go through a preliminary step here to provide the public information and financial information that you may be issuing lease rental bonds. Because it's preliminary, we have to do estimates. There's no other way to do it. And so we're estimating that the best we know on Baker Tilly's in the market every day, and this is what they're seeing. So as of right now, this is what we're seeing.
Okay.
Because again, this is just a public hearing. I mean, we're not
Correct.
voting on anything yet this evening. Any other questions, comments? This is a public hearing again of the resolution number 2023-9-13. Are there any comments or questions from the public? Okay, doesn't look like we have any from the public. So, get back to my regular agenda here. So we will now, I can close. Well. Yeah, we got to close the, yeah. So with no questions or comments, we will now close the second public hearing on the preliminary determination resolution. And without, if I hear no opposition, we will move back into our regular meeting. Correct? Getting used to these things. All right, so we will move on now to the Job Maintenance Committee, Health Department Director.
Do we need to make a motion to approve
To pass the
this?
resolution? No?
Not yet. That was
Okay.
just the second.
This is just the second hearing.
Second public hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that in November. No? I apologize, I guess I am wrong. But November is the adoption of it, correct? Help me out.
So November, this resolution is just simply a preliminary determination. The November meeting is where we will present to you a formal bond ordinance and lease agreement to approve. We'll have a hearing on the lease agreement. And so that is kind of the formal step of moving forward to the financing. This is a preliminary step. And so what we need to do is adopt this resolution. That will allow us to publish notice that you've adopted a preliminary determination to move forward. We'll publish notice of that. It'll trigger a 30-day period.
Okay.
And so we would ask for a vote on this resolution tonight.
Okay, I apologize. I thought it was just the second public hearing. Okay, so we do need to move on a resolution number 2023-9-13.
As amended.
Yes.
I'll make that motion to approve the resolution 2023-9-13 as amended.
Thank you, Chip. We have a motion by Chip Keller,
Maxwell seconds.
seconded by Jason Maxwell. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Sorry for my blundering, folks. Now, Doree, we'll let you go.
I believe you had in your packet a job description for a director for the health department. This is something that would start in January and will be paid for with the new money that they are getting from the state. This was sent back a couple times. Dr. Broderick gave his approval of what the duties are, and it stayed right within that executive level. And this would be a 7 hours a day position.
Hours a day?
I don't know, do you want 23 amount or a 24 amount.
Well, it's not effective till '24, correct?
Correct.
So,
So I will assume of what our raise would be, so that amount would be $63,283.50,
okay.
assuming that everything goes as indicated. So this, Dr. Broderick is not able to be here for several hours a week. He's only able to be here for a short time, and this would allow for there to be someone that they could always go to for answers. Right now, they have an office manager, but that's not the best solution because they don't manage anybody. Nobody reports to them, and that would change with the director.
Okay. Anyone have questions on that?
So he's currently holding the directorship, or no?
No. He's our public health doctor.
So this, the new
Position.
director will have leadership over other people?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm sorry, he's our public health officer. That's the correct title.
Health officer.
Any questions on that? I think that was kind of a requirement of that funding, correct? I mean.
It will
this
be
position.
eventually, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we need to vote on that, right? So we are required to vote on this evening for this job, Health Department Director.
Brian Culp will make the motion that we accept the job description as presented.
Thank you, Brian. We have a motion.
Melissa Green will second.
We have a motion by Brian Culp, seconded by Melissa Green. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen. Did we need to go over any of this, or was this just for our records? Okay. Appreciate that. Yes, Josh?
If I may speak to the board, I would like to introduce, so I don't think you've met this person, but we have a new highway engineer, Justin Schneck, who I'll have come up here and introduce himself. Vicki, when she met him at the AIC conference, was so enthused, I thought I was going to have to call Doree, but thankfully we got through that okay. So anyways, I just wanted to introduce him. We're excited to have him here. He can tell you a little bit about himself.
Great, thank you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, Council. My name is Justin Schneck, and at the end of August, I was hired on as the new county engineer. A little background, I graduated from Purdue in 2014. Over the last 9 years, I've worked as a private design consultant in the transportation industry. I did a little bit of construction inspection, which means I'm out on the job site, seeing how it's built to specification and all that. And then over the last 5 to 6 years, I've been doing design on bridges, roadways, and trails. With that, like Josh said, I thought I'd take this opportunity to get in front of you guys under these circumstances before in the future there are different circumstances while I'm up here. And I've been loving it so far, and I just want to say thanks, and I look forward to working with all you guys. So.
Good.
You went to Martinsville High School?
I did. I graduated in 2009. So.
Welcome back home.
Well, thank you. Yep.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else that needs to come before the council this evening? Sure. You might want to come up to the podium, introduce yourself. It's just a little hard to hear from back that far. All right, and what's your name? I knew it, but I thought I wanted to make sure everybody else did.
I am concerned that our county option tax is extremely high. And there's a group of citizens that live in Morgan County that it affects. When they changed the county option tax, they tried to be even, but and not put such a burden on property tax. I understand that it is extremely difficult for farmers because they have lots of property because it is basically how they make their living. However, retired people who live on pensions and their savings. It's very, very cruel. This is a cruel tax. Personally, I pay more for my county option tax than I do my Indiana state tax. That isn't right. And of course, they come in the same bill. Most people don't even realize that because they don't read everything like I do. But our county option tax is 0.0272. Someone who has on Social Security and maybe some pension and saved through the years and live with interest. And let's just say, in total, they have maybe an income with everything maybe around $150,000. Those people are paying over $4,000 just for county option tax. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot for a lot of people, but it is for some people. I'm not worried about me, but I do know other people who have the same issue. They saved so they would be able to pass them to their children. They saved for a more comfortable life after they're retired. You add the county option tax and inflation, and they have issues. And I talked to Richard Brand, I talked to Kenny Hill about this. I've talked to a lot of people, and they said, well, your property tax is very reasonable in Morgan County. And thank you, it is. It's very reasonable. And and I'm grateful for that. But I have a house. That's it. And not that much property. But in that event, I don't know how you can justify your county option tax being more than your property tax. I really don't think that. Your property tax, you know how everything goes. You know how much goes for the fire department, you know how much goes for the library, and the schools take most of it. And everyone tries to use money. Obviously, you all try to use money wisely. But you need to think in terms of your entire population. Look at the age of your population. And I know some of you probably have heard this before, but it's something that you should be thinking about when you get that property tax. And the thing I like most about this county council, you are planning for the future, which takes money, but that's what we did too. Yeah. So I would just like to say, think about how you make that property tax. Mr. Hill says he doesn't determine that. It's your problem, not his.
Did he pass the buck? Thank you, Sue. Yeah, we won't mention that. I think you were on the council when that was adopted, though, right, Kenny?
Hey.
Yeah, I think so. It's all right. Brian, did you have a...
Mrs. Level, you taught me well, and part of the reason why I've been involved in government because you were a great teacher in my history, a government teacher back in high school. I'd love to have lunch with you to explain the $19 million that the high option income tax goes to subsidize property taxes. It's about $125,000 of adjusted gross income before you're upside down on what you would be paying in option tax versus property tax. And we put that on probably 25 years ago. Not for those making $125,000 in retirement, which Social Security is not taxable at the state, therefore it's not taxable at the county level. But that's because Grandma is sitting over here and she's got a $25,000 CD at home bank making 2% in her Social Security. If I take that $19 million that we subsidize property taxes and put them up at Johnson County, Hendricks County rates, Grandma loses her home. And that's why I've always said, and we can debate, no one's right, no one's wrong on this. It's a theory, but that's why I've always said, tax me on what I make, why I'm making it. Don't tax me on what I'm smart enough to invest in and save. I think property taxes are communistic because you never, if the farmer doesn't pay, it's only $100 for an acre of farmland, but if he doesn't pay it, then he loses it. I can pay off my house, but if I miss property taxes for 2 years, the sheriff back here will come and take it from me. So there's a lot of theories in that, but I'd love to take you out to lunch and we could debate this.
Even better.
There you go.
And I second that she's one of the finest teachers that Martinsville High School ever had.
We're blessed to have her in our community, that is for sure. And her husband as well when he was with us. Great man. All right, anything else that needs to come before us? Hearing none, I look for a motion to adjourn.
Brian?
We have a motion. Do we have a
I'll
second
second.
also? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And our next meeting is November the, oh, that's right. We do have a special meeting on October 23rd. Don't everybody get notified of that. 23rd at 6:30, correct, Linda? 6:30. Yeah, that's for